Hey everyone, welcome back for another deep dive.
Yeah.
You know, we've had a lot of requests to dive into scripture meditation,
Yeah.
and we've got some incredible source material on that.
Yeah, we do.
Um, and I think this will be a really fascinating topic to explore together.
It is gonna be.
So, when we talk about scripture meditation,
Yeah.
what are we really talking about?
Well, it's interesting because a lot of people, when they hear scripture meditation, they're thinking about just reading words on a page.
Right?
But it's so much more than that. It's
Yeah.
really about actively engaging with those words.
Come in.
Almost like having a conversation with the divine.
So for someone who maybe hasn't heard that term before or is really new to this,
Mm-hmm.
how would you explain what scripture meditation is?
Well, essentially, it's a practice where you choose a passage from scripture.
Okay.
And it can be anything from a single verse to an entire chapter.
Yeah.
And you spend time intentionally reflecting on it.
Got it.
So you read it slowly, maybe multiple times.
And really try to absorb the meaning.
So it's less about speed reading and more about soaking it all in.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's about going beyond that surface level and really
Yeah.
delving into the deeper meaning and the message.
I like that.
Yeah.
And one of the things that the source material really emphasizes is how this practice can lead to a closer relationship with God.
Right.
And they even compare it to like spending time with a close friend.
And that's such a beautiful analogy when you think
Yeah.
about it.
Yeah.
When you are with a close friend, you are fully present.
Right.
You're listening intently, not just to their words, but to the emotions behind them. You're
Yeah.
trying to understand their perspectives and their heart.
Mm-hmm.
And scripture meditation invites you to do that same thing with God.
So it's like entering into this sacred space where you can really hear his voice.
Precisely.
Yeah.
And as you listen and as you reflect, you begin to develop a deeper understanding of God's will for your life.
Mm-hmm.
The source even points out that scripture meditation helps you to uncover his guidance.
Just like a trusted friend might offer advice when you need it most.
That's powerful.
Yeah.
And there's even that verse in Psalms that comes to mind.
Hmm.
It says, I hold your word in my heart that I might not sin against you.
Wow.
It's like, having a shield against temptation,
Yeah.
like that constant reminder of God's presence and his guidance.
That is a great connection.
Yeah.
It really speaks to how this practice can be a source of strength and protection in our lives.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So we've talked about how scripture meditation brings us closer to God,
Right.
but the source also goes into how it leads to personal transformation.
Yes. And they use a really cool analogy for that.
Okay.
They say, imagine each word of scripture as a tiny seed
Okay.
planted in your spirit.
Okay.
And as you meditate on those words, those seeds begin to take root and grow,
Right.
gradually transforming you from the inside out.
So it's not about a sudden overnight change, but more of like a gradual blossoming.
Absolutely. It's a process of aligning your heart and mind with God's will, allowing his love and grace to shape your thoughts, your actions, and even your desires.
And this transformation then leads to something else that the source talks about, right?
It does.
Which is how it equips us to serve others and fulfill a greater purpose.
It's true. It's almost like scripture meditation gives you a guidebook and a toolkit for navigating life's challenges and serving God's purpose for your life.
Wow.
The source even mentions how this practice cultivates the fruits of the Spirit.
Oh, tell me more about the fruits of the Spirit.
So the fruits of the Spirit are essentially qualities
Okay.
that grow within us when we are connected to God.
Hmm.
Things like love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, and self-control.
Wow, it's quite a list.
It is.
Yeah.
But scripture meditation nourishes these qualities,
Right.
making them more evident in our daily lives.
So as we meditate on scripture, we become more loving, more patient, more kind,
Yeah,
basically just better equipped to handle whatever life throws our way.
exactly. And to make a positive difference in the world.
I love that.
Yeah.
It reminds me of that verse in Romans 12:2 that says, do not conform to the pattern of this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind.
Mm-hmm.
It's like scripture meditation helps us to break free from those worldly influences and embrace a higher way of living.
That's a fantastic point. It really is about letting go of those old patterns and allowing scripture to reshape our thoughts and our actions. Leading us towards a more fulfilling and purposeful life.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah.
It's interesting how, scripture meditation isn't just this abstract concept.
Right.
It's about practical changes that ripple out into our everyday lives.
It is. And that connection to everyday life is really key.
Okay.
Like, Think about it. You wouldn't just glance at a map once and expect to know the entire route on a road trip.
Definitely not.
You would refer to it again and again.
Oh, yeah. Especially those tricky intersections.
Exactly. So scripture meditation is similar.
Okay.
It's about regularly engaging with the text, allowing it to guide you, especially when you face those crossroads in life.
I like that analogy.
Yeah.
So how do we actually put this into practice?
Right.
Because the source does mention some practical steps.
Right. And the first step is choosing a passage that speaks to you.
Okay.
It could be something you're drawn to, something that relates to a current situation you're facing,
Right.
or even something a friend recommended.
So there's no like right or wrong way to choose.
Exactly.
It's what resonates with you personally.
Precisely. It could be a verse, a psalm, a parable, even an entire chapter.
Okay.
The important thing is that it speaks to your heart and your mind.
I got it. So once you've chosen a passage, what's next?
So the next step is to really dive into it, read it slowly, multiple times if needed, and let those words sink in. Don't just skim the surface.
Right.
Really try to understand the deeper meaning.
You know, I could see how that would take some discipline,
Yeah.
especially in our fast-paced world,
Yeah.
you know, where everything's about instant gratification.
It's true. But here's the thing. Slowing down and savoring those words allows you to uncover those hidden gems, those insights that you might miss if you were rushing through it.
Like those aha moments when something suddenly clicks and you see it in a whole new light.
Exactly. And to get the most out of it, ask yourself some questions as you read.
Okay.
What is this passage trying to tell me about God? How does this apply to my life right now? Is there something God is trying to show me or teach me through these words?
So it's like having a conversation with the text itself.
That's a great way to put it.
Yeah.
And as you do that, those words become more than just words on a page.
Right.
They become a source of guidance, encouragement, and even conviction.
Conviction. What do you mean by that?
So sometimes the text might challenge, your assumptions, your beliefs, even your actions.
All right.
It can be uncomfortable, but it's in those moments of discomfort that real growth happens.
It's like scripture is holding up a mirror, helping us to see ourselves more clearly. You know, and sometimes what we see might not be pretty, but it's ultimately for our own good.
Exactly. It's about allowing those words to refine and shape us, to mold us into the people God created us to be.
I love it. So we've chosen the passage, we've reflected on it, asked ourselves some tough questions. What happens next?
So now it's time to turn those reflections into a conversation with God.
Okay.
Talk to him about what you've read, what stood out to you, what challenged you. Thank him for his word. Ask for clarity on anything that's confusing.
Right.
And be open to his guidance.
So we're going from a conversation with the text to a conversation with the author of the text.
That's a great way to put it.
Yeah.
It's about bringing those words to life through prayer and making them a part of your personal relationship with God.
And I remember the source mentioned memorization as being an important step.
It is memorizing scripture, even if it's just a verse or two, allows you to carry those words with you throughout the day. They become a source of strength when you're facing challenges, a reminder of God's truth when you're tempted to stray.
Right.
And a source of comfort when you're feeling lost or alone.
It's like having this little pocket of wisdom that you can tap into whenever you need it.
Exactly. And finally, don't keep what you're learning to yourself.
Okay.
Share it with others.
Okay.
Talk to a friend, a family member, even someone you've just met.
I can see how sharing your insights not only solidifies your understanding, but also, it sparks these meaningful conversations.
It does.
And it can inspire others.
It's about letting those words flow out of you and into the world, creating those ripples of positive change.
You know what's really struck me throughout this whole conversation is how scripture meditation isn't just about gaining head knowledge.
Right.
It's really about transformation.
It is.
It's about becoming more like Christ and reflecting his love and grace in the world.
You're absolutely right. It's about allowing those words to penetrate our hearts, to shape our thoughts, and to guide our actions.
Yeah.
It's a journey of becoming a process of continual growth and transformation.
It's pretty amazing how something as simple as slowing down and reflecting on scripture can have such a big impact.
It is. It really is. And, we've covered a lot in this deep dive, but we've really only just scratched the surface of this practice. There's just so much more to discover and explore.
That's the exciting part.
Yeah.
It's a lifelong journey of learning and growing closer to God.
It is.
Through his word.
Exactly. And to help you on that journey, the source leaves us with a very thought-provoking question.
Okay.
They ask, if you could choose just one verse to meditate on this week, which one speaks to you most right now and why?
That's a great question to ask yourself.
It is.
It's like you're being asked to choose like a travel companion for a spiritual adventure.
I love that.
Which verse will be your guide, your source of strength, your inspiration?
Right. And you know what's so fascinating is that the same verse can speak to different people.
In completely different ways.
Totally.
It all depends on where you are in your life.
Yeah.
What challenges you're facing, what you're searching for.
Yeah. It's not about finding the one right interpretation.
Right.
It's about letting those words speak to your heart and mind.
Absolutely. So as you go about your week, carry that chosen verse with you.
Okay.
Reflect on it. Pray over it. Let it guide your thoughts and actions. You might be surprised by the insights that you gain and the ways that it shapes your experience.
It's like having that little piece of wisdom tucked away in your pocket. A reminder of God's presence and his guidance amidst all the busyness of life.
And remember, scripture meditation isn't a destination.
Right.
It's an ongoing journey.
It is.
There's always more to discover, more to learn, more to apply.
That's a great point.
Yeah.
So keep exploring, keep reflecting, and keep allowing scripture to transform you from the inside out.
It's been such a joy diving deep with you today.
Same here.
May your journey be filled with insights, revelation, and an even deeper connection.
Yes.
With the divine.
And to everyone listening, thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive.
Yeah, thanks for listening, everybody.
Into scripture meditation.
Yeah.
We hope you've been inspired to experience the transformative power it holds for yourselves.
Yeah.
Until next time, keep seeking, keep growing, and keep shining your light.
Bye, everyone.